So yeah, that happened. What's up again, everybody? I'm Clayton. Welcome to another review. Today we're looking at Seed of Chucky, released in 2004, directed by Don Mancini, starring the late great Brad Dourif coming back as Chucky, Jennifer Tilly coming back to voice Tiffany, along with playing herself. We get Billy Boyd coming in to the franchise to voice Glenn. So here we are. This is where we're at in our Child's Play review series. And I gotta say, rough watch. That's being kind. I knew this film was coming. I probably could have had this review out sooner, but because I knew this was the next movie in the Child's Play franchise, it was hard for me to build up the willpower to watch this film again. I'd seen it once, and that was one time too many. And now I've seen it twice, which is 2 times too many. What can you do, man? So this is probably going to be a short review because honestly, I don't have much to say about this movie. You could probably tell from the intro, I'm not particularly a fan of this movie. I get that there are people that love this movie, man. There are people that really enjoy this one. And if that's you, hey, more power to you, man. More power to you. While you're here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the channel out. Let me know your thoughts of Seed of Chucky in the comment section. I'll just jump right into this short review because there's not a lot I'm going to say about this one. Positives. All right, so when I was preparing for this review, I really did try. I tried to think of positives for this film. I tried to think of something good to say about this movie. And there are a couple of things that I did kind of like with this one, but I say it with a grain of salt because I can only like these things to a degree, and I'll explain why when I get to the negatives. But one of the things I did like was the opening scene of this film. I thought it started off pretty cool with a POV shot of what we think is either Chucky or Glenn, this new killer, and him killing the family that he's been given to. That whole opening scene and the kills there were all pretty cool. Now, again, I can only like that opening to a degree, but watching this film, that is something that it is kind of entertaining. I do like the way they did that. So that I'll say was a positive. I do like the gnarly kills. Don Mancini definitely ups the gore in this one quite a bit. I mean, there's some pretty graphic scenes in this film. A guy, Red Man, getting his genitalia cut off and spilled open, his insides spilled open. That's something that you would see in like Terrifier today, I guess, something like that. People getting decapitated, Chucky getting decapitated, his arms and legs chopped off. I mean, this is a pretty graphic film. So I did like, when you come to a slasher movie, to a degree, you want to see those kind of more excessive kills type of thing. So that was kind of cool. I did like that Don Mancini wasn't really pulling his punches on this one. That was good. I also did like that Chucky and Tiffany were actually going after adults in this film. They got away from just Chucky chasing a kid, or kids plural, as he did in Child's Play 3. Now he's actually moved on to adults. He actually wants adult bodies to take, which makes a lot more sense than just going after a kid. Quite frankly, you can get away with a lot more as an adult than you can as a kid. You can do a lot more. You have a lot more freedoms as an adult than you have as a kid. So that, to me, I liked that change there, because it makes a lot more sense as far as the why goes for me. And I did like that at the end there, when Chucky decides not to kill Jennifer's boyfriend guy, or not to kill him, but to possess him. He chooses not to. He chooses to stay in his doll form. That's another thing I liked, because again, to me, this was something I've kind of argued in my review of some of the prior movies. To me, it makes sense for Charles Lee Ray to stay in the doll body. He can get away with a lot more as a doll, that quite frankly, than he can as a human. There's a lot more perks and benefits that come with just being a doll than there are as human. You can't arrest a doll. You can play dead as a doll, and people won't know that you're real. You can just do more things, and we've seen that throughout this Child's Play series. So to me, Chucky coming to the conclusion at the end that, no, actually, I do want to just stay as a doll. I'm kind of enjoying this life. I kind of like that. He's kind of let go of those chains of trying to get into another body, and he's kind of just reveling in being a killer doll now. So that was something else that I did like that they finally did in this film. Yeah, that's about it. I mean, the voice acting, I guess, was good, but I really don't think Brad Dourif, he doesn't stand out in this film like he does in some of the other ones. I don't think he quite brings that energy vocally that he does in some of the prior films. I almost kind of felt like he didn't really care to be there to do this one. So I don't know, but I guess that would also be a positive if you want to throw that in there. But that's all I got. That's all the positives I got to say about this movie. Getting into the negatives, pretty much everything else. This movie had no clear plot at all. There was no plot goal between the protagonist and the antagonist in this film. You had Jennifer Tilly that just wanted to get into this movie. You had Chucky and Tiffany that just wanted to find human bodies to possess. You had Glenda didn't know what the hell they were. There was just no clear plot in this film. Just nothing to latch on to, nothing to invest in from a storytelling standpoint. It's empty, it's void, there's nothing there. Yeah, so that was a big negative for me. Also, there were a number of kills, and I hate that they did this, where they almost pull a Rob Zombie in Halloween 2, where Rob Zombie opens up with that really cool kill in Halloween 2 with Myers chasing down Laurie in the hospital, and then you find out that was just a dream. That's basically what Don Mancini does here. He has this really cool opening of Glenn killing this family just to find out that it was a dream. So he doesn't even reward you with those kills being legit because it was all just in a dream. And I hate that crap, man. I hate when directors do that. They don't pay off what they just set up for you as the viewer. So yeah, he does that with a couple of kills here, like the kill, the Santa kill with Chucky and in the cemetery, and during Christmas, and Santa comes and he kills the Santa Claus. Again, you find out that that's really just part of a play. It's part of a movie that they're doing. It wasn't real either. So he takes away that kill from you. I don't like that. And that's why I said in the positive that I can only like that opening scene to a degree. Because while it is cool while you're watching it, once you realize that it was just a dream, it takes away from the enjoyment of that scene because it never actually happened. So yeah, this is just a train wreck, man. I just, hard film to watch, man. Hard film to watch. Chucky coming back. At this point, we've just kind of thrown caution to the wind. We're pretty much Don Mancini's just like, well, we'll have Chucky come back. He can always come back now because we're just abandoning the rules of the franchise. All you got to do is say some little voodoo line and you can conjure Charles Lee Ray's spirit back up again. And that's basically what he's doing here, even though it makes no sense why Charles Lee Ray would still be able to come back after all these years and possess a new doll. He's pretty much just done trying to reason things, and he's just expecting you to go along with it. And then the problem with Glenda, like, okay, so Glenn just happens to know voodoo. He knows voodoo and is able to know the spell to bring Charles Lee Ray back into the body of this doll. He just happens to know that. He just happens to know Japanese because it says made in Japan. Well, Chucky was also made in Japan. Does that mean Charles Lee Ray knows Japanese because he was made in Japan? Come on. Like, what are we doing? This is just nonsense, stupid, bad writing by Don Mancini. And just the Glenn character as a whole, it just dumb, bad, unnecessary. There's no reason for him to be here. Like, if Don Mancini was trying to make a commentary on, like, transgenderism or self-identity, gender identity, why bring that into a slasher film? That's not needed. No one cares to have that in a slasher film. Nobody. No one comes to Chucky movies because they want to see a commentary on transgenderism or gender identity. Nobody comes to slasher movies for that. So why have that here? Why have that in the movie? Regardless of where you land politically on that issue, why have that in this movie? It's not needed, and it does nothing for any of these characters. It doesn't develop these characters in any significant way at all. It just there's no point to have that here. And the conclusion at the end of the movie, the point, the moral to the story was, as Jennifer Tilly in the doll, Tiffany, I guess, Jennifer, Tiffany, whichever one it is at this point, is dying, and she's trying to tell Glenn, don't make the same mistakes that your mom and dad made. That's kind of the moral to the story. And then what does Glenn do? He turns right around and makes the same mistake that they do by murdering Chucky in cold blood, decapitating him, cutting his arms and legs off. That's basically, so it's like the whole moral to the story that you're trying to get there, Don, you just spat all over because there's no payoff to it. So I don't think it's needed. You don't need to bring that into a slasher film, and you don't do anything with it either. So I didn't care for the character at all. He doesn't provide anything significant to this franchise. He didn't develop these characters at all. Chucky doesn't change at all. Tiffany kind of changes, but not because of Glenn, but because of Jennifer Tilly. So it's like, what's the point? You take Glenn out of this movie, nothing really changes. I mean, there's no plot in this film at all to really affect in any way. So it's just sloppy. It was stupid, in my opinion, unnecessary. And if you're trying to bring the character in for humor, again, it doesn't land. Don Mancini does not need to be writing humor. There was not a single moment in this film that made me laugh. There wasn't a single moment in this film that got a chuckle out of me. So if it was an attempt at comedy, it utterly failed. If it was an attempt at horror, it utterly failed. Chucky himself felt like a third wheel in this film. It felt much more like a Tiffany / Jennifer Tilly movie. She was even the top billing on the credits of this film, and a Glenn / Glinda movie than it did Chucky. Chucky felt like the third wheel in his own film, and I don't like that stuff, man. I hate that crap. So that was another issue, making Chucky kind of just the third wheel to tag along in this movie. The ending makes no sense. Take that last scene off. What does it change? What do we find out? Chucky's arm can come back to life. Cool. We didn't need that. We already know that you can just bring Chucky back for any reason now, because you've been doing that the past 4 movies. So we didn't really even need that. The ending was just dumb, and unnecessary. And just, yeah. And then there were just some gross scenes, man. Some scenes that were just, why does this need to be here? I don't need to see Chucky jerking off. I don't need to see Jennifer Tilly being impregnated with a turkey baster. So yeah, just a gross film. You know, this movie is just garbage, quite frankly. It's garbage. It's stupid. It's unnecessary. Quite frankly, a waste of, at this point, 3 hours of my life, because I've seen this movie twice now, and it's about an hour and a half. So yeah, there you go. This movie, my overall rating, 1 star for this film. Hopefully I never have to talk about this movie again. Hopefully I never have to see this movie again. To me, I would rather watch paint dry for an hour and a half than to watch Seed of Chucky ever again. So yeah, there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Seed of Chucky. Hope you guys enjoy this review. It does get uphill from here. I can guarantee you that with the next one. Stay tuned for that one. It might be a little bit before I drop the next review of Curse of Chucky, just because there's a couple other projects I'm also working on as well. So I got multiple things I'm kind of tackling at once. But stay tuned. I'll be bringing that to you hopefully shortly. And until next time, kick it and rock on.